It's a very rite of passagey idea too. One of the things we talk about is how it takes 50 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup, and that you're always trying to distill that sap to create this really sugary syrup. What did you learn about how a message changes as you begin to compress an idea down to its essence?
Yeah, I think there's a tough trade-off you make as you keep distilling, where you start to lose people the more precise you get.
Hmm.
So, one of the decisions is like there's a lot of terms in here and a lot of words that if you haven't read, if you aren't familiar with mental models, or if you don't have some of the Silicon Valley jargon, or if you haven't read,
Mm-hmm.
any Talib or even, heard a talk by him, it kind of goes over your head. And I had some editors really press me to define things. They're like, you need to add a paragraph of definition of anti-fragile. And I'm like, I don't know. That's really gonna slow people down who already do know about it. And I don't mind forcing people to go look that up or get curious about it if they see it again. And so the more you distill, a lot of times, like if you distill all the way down to productize yourself and you say only productize yourself, nobody knows what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you have this tweet storm, some people are going to understand some of those tweets, but if you don't have kind of an intuitive understanding of what accountability means and how it relates to risk, or how the power of compounding like actually derives incredible returns over time. Like if you can't unfold the word compounding into 2 pages of how important this idea is and what it is, when you distill it, all of a sudden you're losing millions of people who don't understand that and who can't kind of like open up that subfolder in their head and appreciate the importance of that concept. And so I'm hoping with this book that, I don't think Naval has the patience to go like write out the 2 pages of compounding and like, define every little thing. And so I'm hoping that this book kind of takes a step a little bit above the tweet storm, that like if you can't quite read the tweet storm and expand all of that in your head to be like, oh my God, I know how I have to live my life now,
Mm-hmm.
that this blows out some of those concepts and defines them better, but not so much that they are, you know, that a first grader could understand them. Certainly, like there are people for this book will still go over their head. They'll still need to Google things. Like that's perfectly fine. Like I want it to be a reference, a high density, like high value reference for people who like want to keep unfolding it and keep distilling it and see a few more examples and see a few more applications. Really bridge that gap between like, hey, I read the tweet storm and like I can apply this to my own business and my own life like today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference between distilling too far and expanding too far. I hope we thread that needle appropriately.